Hello and welcome to Spotlight on the SCCOE. I'm John Gundry, Santa Clara County Superintendent of Schools. Thanks for joining us. While education trends and technologies come and go, one thing that never changes is a need for excellent teachers to lead students to success. Throughout the state, however, schools are having difficulty attracting top candidates for teaching positions, and it's increasingly common for schools to begin in the fall without a full staff. A few months into the school year last year, there were almost 4,000 open teaching positions in the state of California. Our ability to keep our schools fully staffed with a credentialed teacher in every classroom is essential to the success of our children and to the economic health of our community. With us here today to talk more about this issue and how our community is tackling this challenge are Dr. Kip Dayes, an education professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz, and Philip Gordillo, our Chief Human Resources Officer here at the SCCOE. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Good morning. Kip, why don't we start with you? Can you give the audience an overview of what we mean when we talk about the teacher pipeline and what some of our the reasons are for a current teacher shortage?
Thank you for having me, John. I really appreciate having the time to share this really important topic with you this morning. Well, the pipeline for teachers begins with a bachelor's degree. Nearly every state now has gone into the mandated requirements are minimum of a bachelor's degree. So the pipeline begins with people who are interested in teaching and they must get a bachelor's degree. And then there's some testing that goes on with that. Within that pipeline are various tracks to different kinds of what we call credentials in the state of California. So what we call a multiple subjects is a credential that is generally for elementary teachers, and then a single subject is for those hoping to teach in high schools or middle schools. And you have to choose one. You can't do both at the same time. You have to either choose multiple or single subjects. And then after completing a bachelor's degree, nearly all credentialing in the state of California happens post-baccalaureate. So in most cases, these are fifth-year programs, or like our program at UC Santa Cruz is a credential with a master's degree. So the real beginning starts with people who want to be teachers, and then it's getting them into a program that will secure a bachelor's degree. We don't have an education major in most public universities in the state of California, and there's a long history for that, and it's a little bit confusing for people. But the pipeline begins then with people who want to be teachers and begin to major in something that we teach in our K-12 schools.
So why do you think we're anticipating a significant shortage?
Well, during the recession, people were looking around and seeing teachers getting laid off, and we pretty much went from roughly 50 to 55,000 credentials per year down to 20. So we're seeing a potential now of fewer people going into teaching. Now that the economy or the funding for schools as a consequence of Prop 30 has increased, we're not seeing that consistent layoff. And in fact, now we're beginning to see what's been predicted for a long time is a really significant number of retirements. So there's a lot of jobs out there this year, and we're hoping that we can ramp up in the credentialing programs to meet the need that the school districts have. Particularly in areas such as STEM education, math teachers, there's been a shortage, it's getting worse. Bench sciences, chemistry, physics.
So if there's sufficient interest in teaching, do you think the universities are ready to prepare the students to become teachers?
Well, that's a good question, because the recession also really kind of did some bad resources, inflicted some wounds on the higher education. So we need to ramp up. We need additional funding so that we can meet this demand. There are other ways that teachers can get into the field through internship credentials, but you still have to go through a post-baccalaureate program to get a credential. So we're hoping that the state will think of a very integrated and thoughtful, systematic approach to increasing the number of teachers for our students in the state, because you're absolutely right, the teacher makes all the difference.
Okay. Philip, why is this a good time to consider a career in teaching, and particularly here in Santa Clara County?
Well, there's many opportunities here in the 31 school districts, from bilingual education to special ed to regular ed, speech language pathologists. These are all positions that are in high demand for our 31 school districts. And it is a good opportunity. Some of our districts pay very well. The benefits are good. Getting into a secure retirement system as in STRS. On March 19th, we had the largest teacher fair here in Northern California, here at the Santa Clara County Office of Education. We had 45 school employers, including our districts and charter schools. We had 653 candidates walk through our doors. Every corner of this building was here to share what opportunities we have. And several districts, including us here at the county office, we made quite a few hires that day. Also, we are looking again to have another event to talk about the teaching opportunities. It's called Step Into Teaching Opportunities in Silicon Valley Public Schools, and where we will be, as Kit was saying, asking the general public, those folks who have a bachelor's degree and want to come and learn about the teaching opportunities here in the Santa Clara County. And we will have a panel of teachers. There'll be a keynote speaker. There will be universities. San Jose State will be here. National University will be here. University of San Francisco, and our own EPIC program here at the county office. That's our own internal credentialing program. So you can register for the event at www.sccoe.org and come and join us on June 18th from 9 to 1.
Okay, thank you. Now, we know that recruiting new teachers is only part of the issue. We also have to retain the teachers who are already in the classroom with us. So, Kip, what do you think are some of the factors that are important in keeping teachers in the profession who already are in the classroom?
Well, it's a complicated mix of decisions that people make to stay in schools, and the research that I've done and that others have done reveals a pretty there just seems to be so many different reasons for people leaving the profession. It's very hard to track teachers, believe it or not. Some teachers may leave a certain school because it wasn't the right fit, it was too far. Increasingly, we're seeing people in this area who are maybe leaving because it's of the cost of living. Although the school districts in Santa Clara County do pay quite well, many of them, it's still a very, very high cost of living in the region. So, as a matter of fact, we're going to begin a study on Santa Clara County workforce teaching that will hope to answer some of these questions. So it really ranges from maybe there was a bad fit. Sometimes teachers find out after the first year that this really wasn't the profession for them. Something like 80% of the teachers that are hired in any given year are women. So, and many of our ages when they would begin a family, so that's a reason. So it's complicated even more so in a region such as Santa Clara County, where there are so many other opportunities, the cost of living is so high. So what we're hoping to do with the study is to get a better handle on what it is, if teachers are leaving the profession, what could be the reasons? Are they unhappy with the working conditions? Is it cost of living? Is it they just maybe picked a profession that wasn't the right way to start? Are they moving quickly into leadership roles? That's one thing that my colleague Brad Olson found, is that people are staying in education, they're just leaving teaching. So it's very complicated. We're going to hope to dig into some of the data and be able to share that information.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the high cost of living here being a deterrent, but I'm really curious to see what you find in the study in terms of the pressures of the job itself, whether that's a significant reason for teachers leaving the profession. Because there are a lot of pressures placed on teachers for student performance and high stakes testing and that sort of thing. So do you think that's a factor, and will that be part of the study?
Absolutely, it will be. We're thinking we have a sea change now, of course, in our federal legislation. No Child Left Behind is gone, and Every Student Succeeds Act is now in its place, where we believe that there won't be so much pressure on standardized testing. I think that we went through about a decade, a little more than a decade or so, nationwide with No Child Left Behind, where I think that teachers really were feeling like test scores were more important than children. And I'm hoping that the ESSA Act, or Every Student Succeeds, will mitigate that, and teachers can get back to caring about children, which is mostly why they went into the profession. Hardly anyone says, I'm going into teaching because I like to raise test scores. That's important. Most teachers agree that that's important, but that's not why they went into it. They go in.
Right, I've never heard anybody say that.
I've never heard anyone say that either. So we're hoping that the new federal legislation, and then having that the legislation be interpreted by local school systems as a broader look at children's success, and the Common Core too, college and career ready, not higher test scores. That's not the goal anymore, is to get kids prepared for what are they going to do after school, whether that's college or career. That's our Common Core. So we'll be digging into that, what's interesting is we're really in a really wonderful kind of policy change right now, and we'll be hoping to kind of document those changes.
Well, I hope your optimism is well placed, because I think there is, not just among our legislators, but in the public, there is a real desire to see test scores, because people understand test scores. It's an easy way to think about whether a school is a high quality school or not. I hope you're right that we do get away from an overemphasis on high stakes testing, but that has yet to be seen, both at the federal and at the state level. I'd like you both to respond to the last question. Why don't we begin with you, Philip? Can you tell us what's going on currently in Santa Clara County to ensure that we have a credentialed teacher in every classroom?
Well, again, we're going to have this event on June 18th to invite members from the general public who want to learn about teaching. We're going to have the Teachforce workforce study that's coming through. Several of the school districts will also be here at the event to make presentations. We'll give stage time to the universities to help recruit folks that need to return to school, and maybe that fifth year, as Kit was talking about. So we have quite a bit. And then, of course, next spring, we will have the teacher fair here one more time. That will be, I think, our 31st year.
Okay, Kip?
Well, I think that the districts are doing what they can do to recruit. I know that the campuses in the region are ramping up. We're trying to increase our capacity so that professional programs can meet the need. I think one important thing that we need to be aware of is that the shortage isn't generalized, is that there are specific subjects, as I mentioned, that are in very, very high need. Special education, Philip mentioned, and bilingual, math, science. So we're trying to strategically grow those teachers in the programs, and we hope that the state, it's a one big machine here that has teachers and students under its control. So we're hoping the legislature will be open to increasing our capacity in the professional programs, whether they're intern programs offered by county offices or school districts, or the CSU, UC system, and the privates are part of our strategy as well. They can't be, we have to pay attention to them. Philip mentioned National University. They are the largest credential granting entity in the state. So I think it has to be a really a statewide, region-wide effort to increase the number of quality teachers that are prepared to enter our schools.
Now, you were both here the last time we went through a teacher shortage. Are there any lessons that we should have learned from the last time that might help us now?
Well, I think I would say that we probably didn't learn as much as we should have, because we did not prepare ourselves well for this to happen all over again. You were asking why some teachers are leaving the profession. 40% of all new teachers are leaving within the first 2 years of their induction. And induction programs are important. And we're seeing that when there's not an effective induction program, candidates or new teachers tend to leave. Also professional development. If there's not a great professional development program, and if they don't have, a new teacher does not have resources like a mentor teacher or a resource teacher, they tend to leave as well. And sometimes, believe it or not, they could also not have a great principal that's not being as supportive as they could be.
So it's not just about recruitment, it's
Right.
possibly even more about retention than it is about recruitment.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you, Kip. Thank you, Philip. I appreciate your insight into this important and complex issue. Every student deserves to have an excellent teacher. Here in Silicon Valley, our culture is rich in innovation and discovery. We must instill that spirit in our youth, and we need a vibrant teaching force in order to do that. Thanks again for watching. I look forward to seeing you the next time on Spotlight on the SCCOE.